The 70s and 80s? Motocross was pure chaos. Manufacturers building bikes faster than anyone could actually ride them. More power, less weight. Who cares if people get hurt? And people did get hurt. Bad. Some of these bikes got so out of control that the AMA had to step in. New rules, emergency testing. One class of bikes came this close to being banned completely. We're counting down 7 of the most dangerous motocross bikes ever made. These things didn't just send riders to the hospital, they changed how bikes get built forever. Number 1 on this list, the AMA was days away from killing off an entire class of motorcycles because of it. Let's go. Number 7, 1973. Suzuki TM 400 Cyclone. Riders called it the injury machine. Here's what happened. Suzuki was getting absolutely destroyed in the 400 class. Maico and CZ were dominating, so Suzuki panicked and did what you do when you panic. They threw more power at it and chopped the frame shorter to make it turn faster. Big mistake. 52 horsepower. But the handling? Like trying to control a shopping cart at 60 miles an hour. The short wheelbase made this thing twitchy as hell. You'd hit a braking bump wrong and the bars would just start shaking side to side. Tank slapper. And once it started, you weren't stopping it. You just held on and prayed. Cycle News straight up called it the most dangerous production bike we've ever tested. Dirt Bike Magazine didn't even tell people how to ride it. They wrote an article about how to survive it. Wrist fractures, separated shoulders, riders would death grip the bars trying to stop the shaking, and their bones would just snap from the vibration. Suzuki fixed it for 1974. Longer wheelbase, better geometry, actually stable. The Cyclone proved you can't just slap power on a sketchy chassis and call it a race bike. But for 1 year, they sold a genuinely dangerous motorcycle to anyone with a checkbook. Number 6, 1986 Honda CR 500R. Look, every CR 500 was a handful, but 1986? This was the year Honda's engineers apparently forgot that normal people would be buying this thing. 491 cubic centimeters two-stroke. 67 horsepower, 238 pounds. Sounds manageable until you realize how that power comes in. Like getting hit with a bat. Below 6,500 RPM, you got nothing. Then you hit the power band and suddenly you're on a rocket. Riders called it the light switch, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You twist the throttle and just hope you're ready for what happens next. Amateurs would buy these because they wanted the fastest bike. Then they'd accidentally get into the power band mid-corner and just gone. Loop out, over the bars, hospital. Motocross Action tested it and basically wrote, you need perfect clutch control, perfect throttle control, and you should probably pray before you start it. Honda eventually figured it out. By '88, they'd redesigned the whole suspension and linkage to actually handle the power. The '86 showed them you can't just keep adding horsepower and hope the chassis keeps up. Fast bike in the right hands, a trip to the ER in the wrong ones. Number 5, 2001 Yamaha YZ426F. The bike that made grown men afraid of kickstarters. So Yamaha wanted to make 4-strokes the next big thing in motocross. The YZ426F was fast, handled great, and had one absolutely catastrophic flaw. The kickstarter was a weapon. Manual decompression lever. Very specific starting procedure. You had to get the timing exactly right. Get it wrong? 426 cubic centimeters of compression fires that kickstarter back at your leg like a catapult. Broken legs, shattered ankles. One guy lost teeth when the kickstarter bounced the bike up and smashed the bars into his face. Go look at internet forums from 2001. They're full of YZ426F injury stories. People called it the Widowmaker, the leg breaker, the 4-stroke from hell. Oh, and it ran nuclear hot. The radiator would blow and spray boiling coolant directly onto your right leg. Second-degree burns became so common, the AMA had to create new rules for where radiators could be mounted. 2 years later, Yamaha added electric start. Then everyone added electric start. The 426 basically forced the whole industry to make 4-strokes actually rideable. Fast bike. Also tried to kill you every time you started it. Number 4, 1982. Maico 490 Mega 2. The bike that killed an entire company. The 1981 Maico 490 was incredible. Fast, reliable, German-engineered perfection. People still say it's one of the best dirt bikes ever made. Then 1982 happened. Maico's owners were fighting each other. The factory was in chaos. And somehow, maybe on purpose, maybe not, the production line got sabotaged. Bikes shipped with the wrong shocks. Gearboxes that would grenade under load. Hubs cracking and breaking. Frames with bad heat treatment that developed cracks you couldn't even see. These things were just failing, mid-race, mid-air off a jump, no warning. Maico tried to fix it. Recalls, free repairs, everything. Didn't matter. Riders lost trust. Dealers stopped ordering bikes. By 1983, Maico's American distribution collapsed. 1984, they stopped making bikes entirely. Now every manufacturer has quality control protocols because of this. Testing standards, warranty requirements, all the stuff we take for granted. Maico built legendary bikes for 30 years. 1 year of bad quality control destroyed everything. That's how fast you can lose it all. Number 3, 1984, Kawasaki KX500. The KX500 is a legend, championships, collector's bike, icon. It's also the bike that made the AMA create skill class restrictions because too many people were getting wrecked on it. 1984 was the first year of the 499 cubic centimeter engine. Kawasaki hadn't figured out how to make that much power controllable yet. The power was violent, not aggressive, violent. Quarter twist of the throttle, and you go from cruising to completely out of control. Pro riders could handle it, barely. Regular riders, no chance. And Kawasaki sold this thing to everybody. 16-year-old kid walks into a dealership, here's your KX500, good luck. Those kids went to local tracks and destroyed themselves. Concussions, broken femurs, compressed spines from casing jumps because they whiskey throttled off the face. The KX500 led amateur racing in serious injuries for years. So the AMA stepped in. Age restrictions for bikes over 450 cubic centimeters, skill requirements, dealer liability rules. You can't just walk in and buy the biggest bike anymore. You have to prove you can handle it. Even Jeff Ward, one of the greatest American riders ever, said this thing was too much bike for most people. The KX500 is legendary because it was brutally fast when ridden right, but it's also the reason we have skill classes today. You can't just buy whatever you want anymore, and honestly, that's probably a good thing. Number 2, 1975, Yamaha YZ250B Monoshock. Yamaha's first monoshock bike, also their first massive suspension failure. Yamaha was racing to catch up with European suspension tech. The YZ250B was their answer. 1 rear shock instead of 2. Revolutionary on paper. In practice, the shock was way too stiff and it kicked back like a mule over rough terrain. Riders called it Yamaha hop. The rear end would just skip and pogo over whoops and braking bumps. Completely unpredictable. You'd be riding fine and suddenly you have 0 rear traction and you're fighting for control. And when you landed big jumps, that stiff to carbon shock would bottom out hard and send the impact straight into your spine. Fast bike if you could ride it. Absolutely punishing if you couldn't. Yamaha went back and redesigned everything for 1976. New shock, better valving, progressive damping that actually worked. The YZ250B proved you can't just rush new technology to market. You actually have to test it. Make sure it works. Make sure it won't hurt people. Monoshock eventually became the standard, but the first attempt was rough enough that the whole industry learned to slow down and test their stuff properly. Yamaha got there first, but they paid for it. But nothing compares to number 1, because this wasn't about one bike being dangerous. This was about the AMA almost killing off an entire class of motorcycles. Number 1, the 1980 to 81 500cc open class crisis. Not a single bike, the entire 500cc open class, and how it almost got banned completely. By 1980, the 500cc class had turned into an arms race. Maico 490S, Honda prototypes, Kawasaki KX 450S, every manufacturer building more power, cutting more weight. Corner speeds were up 20% in 3 years, jumps were getting bigger, and riders were getting seriously hurt trying to keep up. Through 1980 and 81, the injuries were piling up. Compression fractures, broken necks, career-ending crashes. The bikes were getting faster than anyone could actually control them. Track speeds had jumped 20% in just 3 years. Triple jumps were getting longer. The bikes were outrunning the riders. By the early 80s, the AMA had a problem on their hands. Internal debates, arguments. Were 500cc bikes too dangerous? Should they cap displacement? Should they force tracks to be safer? The debate got serious. Some officials wanted to just kill the whole class. No more bikes over 450 cubic centimeters. Limit the premier class. Force manufacturers to stop chasing speed at any cost. Manufacturers lost their minds. Factory teams threatened to quit. The whole sport was at a breaking point. Eventually, they found a compromise, barely. New rules across the board. Mandatory stability testing for all new bikes. Frame stress analysis requirements. Longer runoff areas on tracks. Better medical response at every race. But the real change was bigger than rules. The culture shifted. Manufacturers stopped building bikes that were just fast. They started building bikes that were fast and controllable. That's why modern motocross bikes are actually rideable. Better suspension, stronger frames, power that comes on smooth instead of trying to kill you. Real testing before bikes hit the market. The 500cc class didn't get banned, but it came close enough to scare everyone straight. And yeah, riders paid the price for that lesson, but at least something changed because of it. These 7 bikes, and that whole era of the 500cc class, they broke more than bones. They broke the old way of doing things. Manufacturers figured out you can't just innovate and hope for the best. Speed without control is just danger. And sometimes the only way progress happens is when something goes really, really wrong. If you rode any of these bikes or you remember the early 80s chaos, drop a comment. I want to hear your stories. And if you want more motocross history that shows how far we've come, hit subscribe. We're just getting started. Ride safe out there.